thank you. Like I know that this material is for you, right? Like you're doing this for you. And
But it's actually about me.
it means so much. It means so much. And I just feel like it's so relatable.
Before we begin with the main video, let me explain that I am not in favour of any of the E followed by the letter Ds, and that is why I am making this video. I am in favour of everybody who has one of these problems getting to a healthy mind and body. Now, this particular video is the podcast made by a huge clinic, the Renfrew Center. They have a podcast. They're a very well funded centre. Insurance companies will send people there. They're accredited, they're famous, locations all over the United States. They've got this podcast, they've got, a big expensive looking website. This is not a tin pot, tiny little thing. This is a major service provider. They kind of see recovery as giving up on getting to a healthy weight when you're starting from an obese point of view. And Jaimie Weisberg is a fashion hauler and E followed by the letter D recovery activist on social media who has that message very much, and she is being openly promoted by this podcast that comes from this clinic. An example of some of her content. There is so much of it, but this is the sort of content that these two people interviewing her know that she makes about this subject of E followed by the letter D. So you can see her attitude that she is promoting, and therefore they are promoting. My name is Jaimie, and I have BN, one of the E followed by the letter Ds, and BED, bed. I've had to mute this for copyrighted music reasons. My goal is to have a healthy relationship with my body and food. This is not a weight loss journey, it's a recovery journey. So you can see that she is framing those two things as in opposition. That is a very consistent theme in her social media accounts. When people tell me you are going to pass away early if you don't change. Imagine if this was someone on the other end. Imagine if this was someone like Eugenia Cooney, if she ever made content like this. When people tell me you're going to pass away if you don't change. And then imagine if she reacted in this way, right? Why is it seen as so different? But look at this reaction that she has. Did not realize you wanted me around so bad. And then be fat, have an E followed by the letter D, and you need to lose weight, and it's all mocking. It's like, so it's all is all like that, saying you can either be fat, as she said in that video I showed you, in this direction, or have an E followed by the letter D in that direction. Literally saying you cannot recover if you are trying not to be overweight or obese, which makes no more sense than if you said you can either be underweight or have one, or like you can't possibly not want to be underweight and be recovered. It doesn't make any sense. Recovery in means that you start caring about your health, because not caring about your health, dismissing it, trying to tell yourself it doesn't matter, is a key symptom of all of them, and that symptom is being promoted by these clinics. And one example is how they are promoting Jaimie Weisberg, who spreads that message of that very symptom of EDs, of not caring about your health, dismissing it, mocking people who say you're going to pass away early. So let's hear what they have to say to her when they're interviewing her.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of All Bodies, All Foods. I'm Ashley, and I'm here with my co-host Sam, and we have Jaimie Weisberg joining us today. Jaimie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Definitely looking forward to getting into it today.
Yay!
Yes, let's get into it.
Yes. Okay, y'all. So for those of you that don't know, Jaimie is a social media influencer. I started following her several years ago, really. And I think I told you about this, Jaimie, when we talked before, but you were doing the clothing hauls and was like, yes, I love this. This is great. And so we love connecting with folks that really we feel like align with our mission here on All Bodies, All Foods. And so
So they've been following her for some time, for years, and her content has not changed in this way. In this way, it's the same, and she's only gotten much larger, going the way of some other people who've passed away even before 30. Could be like Brittany Sowell, who passed away at 28. She could be like Adrienne Bennett, who passed away in her 40s. A lot of these fat activists die at different ages and different sizes because there is a genetic luck and environmental factors element that you don't know about. You don't know which of your organs has these risk factors that mean that when you get that size, that's the organ that packs in first.
I was excited to be able to reach out to you and see if you could come on the show.
To summarize it as best I can, I started my social media journey about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't really know where I was going to go, but I started seeing all these other people that somewhat looked like me, or honestly, this is not even like a cocky thing. Like, I've always been told that like I have a really great personality, and I'm funny.
Been multiple streams and multiple videos floating around of Jaimie kind of poking fun at her sister and her sister's disabilities.
Comedy's hard.
I've always been told that like I have a really great personality, and I'm funny, but it was really overshadowed by like it was always like
Mm.
you should change the way that you look, but you should be ashamed. So how can I like use my personality to my benefit if I'm constantly being like shit on, excuse my French, for like every other part of me? Like, why?
It might not be just the weight. I mean, that particular video I just showed, that was deleted after the fact, but there have been other things, and some of the ways she engages with people who are really only talking to people who are in the perfectionistic, I'm working really hard on my body and I'm still dissatisfied because I feel like I should have even more perfect results. She can be actually quite vitriolic in her approach to them and do things. She has been accused of triggering people by implying that, what do you mean we're the same size, in stitches on TikTok with these creators who are making, those bodies that look like this also look like this, and those ones which are clearly aimed at people who are athletic, who are working hard on their bodies and are wanting more results than they're getting stuff. But this is one of the things that people with some E followed by the letter D's do, or all of them, that wherever you're not a healthy weight, wherever you're a stigmatized weight, either under or over, it's a way of everything gets blamed on that. People don't like me because I'm thin, people don't like me because I'm fat. And sure, of course, people will, most the other people who also have similar obsessions as distractions and coping mechanisms, people who also obsess in some way around appearance in this way, they might call you all sorts of horrible names, in like strangers in the street. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen, and people ruminate on it, and this could be what's going on here. And these people who are interviewing her, there's just a psychiatrist, I don't know exactly what the other woman's role is. They don't at any point here say, okay, let's talk about the thing where people want you to change your body. Was that ever explained to you in a medical context? Like, they could introduce the concept of medical reasons to change your weight, and you know damn well they would. If it was a very, very emaciated person, they would be having that conversation. They wouldn't just let that slide of, as soon as you mention your body and why I shouldn't change my body. If it was somebody very, very underweight, do you think that they would have the balls? They might think it in their heads, because a lot of them, I seriously think, do think it in their heads in these clinics, because they have the problem too. Very obvious. Some of them will admit it openly, like, I used to have this problem, but they wouldn't interview Eugenia because they know it would look bad to normally thinking people if they were to say things like this, and not mention that she needs to change her weight for medical reasons. To never bring that up. They only mention health once, and I'm going to show you the part where they mention health now.
So I think like a lot of it was frustration in like seeing people like who represented myself, which is far from none in the media. Not only that, being successful and not focusing on like the stereotypes of dehumanizing bigger people. Like, I want to show people what it's like when a person of my body size takes away the idea of body size equates to A, B, and C. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I never talk about body size. This is why, like, it's like when you're talking about your pronouns, my health is not disclosed, because regardless if I'm healthy or not, it's none of your business. And it's really weird that you treat people based on that. And you
Yeah.
should think about why.
It'd be very strange if an ED clinic were interviewing Eugenia and she was saying that and they reacted the way these people react. Just bear that comparison in your head. Imagine it's Eugenia saying these exact words, and imagine if they would react in the same way. Or if they would maybe just not invite her on because they know that even if they believe that, about that end too, and I think some of them really do believe it at all ends. They know they can't openly say that because most people would then, in that case, they would see it as crazy.
You treat people based on their health status. You wouldn't go up to someone with a broken leg and be like, hey, you're unhealthy. So
Yeah.
it's just like, why are you doing that to human beings? Like,
Yeah.
regardless of their health status. So I think
Yeah, they're
part of
just
it with like
agreeing.
all of that, but a bigger reason is like, I don't see myself in the media, and when I do, like, we are seen as animals, we're seen as dehumanized, and like I can't even fathom what it's like for people with
Eugenia
who
isn't
are
allowed to be
black in
seen at
my
all.
size,
Her size isn't
who
allowed to
are
be
queer
represented
in
at
my
all.
size. Like, I can't imagine what
I'm
that's
not saying
like.
it's good that
So I
you
think
would see it that way. I don't think the media really does that, but hey, look, that's you can have an argument about that. The point is, if it was Eugenia saying these exact same things about, oh, people hate me for my size and stuff, and it's all about how society sees me, wouldn't there be some pushback? They are just agreeing, nodding, smiling, getting all emotional with her. At one point in this, they cry. They literally start to weep, like, because they are like relating so hard, and it's very strange. It does again suggest that it's a lot of people go into this field because they have their own issues. It's very weird that they are moved to tears about this idea of a very obese woman showing off clothes, but that is what happens. And you can see from this reaction, like, there is no ever an attempt to say, yeah, but let's also bring in the idea of, you should love yourself enough to want yourself to feel physically healthy and capable and to live a long time and to not pass away like Brittany Sauer did at 28, warning people in her last days, don't do what I did, don't gain weight, don't believe in this idea that it won't affect your health. And what does everyone do in that movement? Just say nothing after that, just to pretend like it didn't happen. And what are these ladies going to do when she passes away, much younger than they do? When she passes away, who knows how long it's going to be? As I said, you just don't know. It's always a bit of a lottery. Like, how long can you last at this size, depending on how long you've been, how big you've been, right? There's still individual variation. You just don't know. Like, Eugenia could die any day now. She could live another 10 years. We don't know. This is the same. You just don't know. And she could pass away literally tomorrow from a sudden complication. I've seen someone much less overweight pass away from a sudden complication, a blood clot, from a knee problem that didn't heal, because it's complication upon complication. There can be a cascade of complications when you have diabetes and orthopedic problems, both caused by obesity. It can cause one thing to fall into another that ends in your death, or from a knee problem caused by your weight. Like, that can happen, and you don't know, that could happen to her tomorrow. And how will these women feel? Because I know how I felt just for not having said something more. Oh no, I don't need to go to the hospital, it's just a bad knee. That's because they were so used to being in significant pain that when it escalated to the degree that they were screaming, literally intermittently screaming in agony and barely able to get around, needed a lot of help with their cane, still were like thinking that was kind of normal, and that they just had to wait for their nurse appointment as scheduled. I didn't say anything at that time because I was a guest in the house. I wasn't close to this person. I was close to their child, their daughter, right? I was staying there just as a friend for a few days, and I was a guest in their house. I didn't know them super well. We were friendly, and then there were 3 other people in the room, and one said, "I think you should go to the hospital." He said, "I don't think I need to. It's just a bad knee." And I thought he needed to, but I was just a guest, and I didn't feel like it was my place. And I also didn't think it was definitely going to escalate this. I didn't think this was going to happen, or I would have spoken up and just dealt with being seen as rude or whatever. I would have dealt with it if I'd known in advance that no, this will lead to end of life in a few days. I would definitely have said something then. But I just thought, it seems like an emergency. It seems like I would go and make sure that I get this seen to quickly, just in case it escalates into something like I was thinking infection in my head, but I didn't speak up. And I regret that. And how are these people going to feel? Because they are doing so much more than that. They are reaching out to this person, bringing them on, and then feeding into their delusions that this is all fine and that you don't have to think about your health at all. If there was someone on the other end, would they? Maybe they would. I really don't know. I think some would and some wouldn't. Some have the double standard where they do understand that underweight is bad, and others, I think, secretly don't think underweight is bad either, but they just can't openly say that. Certainly not at the extreme end of underweight. They can't say that publicly because it will instantly ruin their credibility in the mainstream, because the mainstream has a double standard to some degree for various reasons.
big reason was like how inhumane I felt. And I wanted to show people that, hey, I'm human. No, I don't have to be that small or that big or that size. I'm human either way. And I think like that was like a big reason for me showing myself like being successful, or like taking the idea of like equating body size to worth and value.
Yeah.
And it goes into why I call myself the body positive bestie, because the body positive movement was started by fat, black, disabled, queer women to create representation for us, and it was co-opted. And I'm like, I'm not getting kicked out.
So that's not what happened, and I just want to point out that they, these are supposed to be trained professionals. You'd think they might know that, or at least not nod along without fact checking. But she just listed a list of things. Like, it's not that there's like yes, there was like the fat underground, I think it was called, that there were groups of people, but they weren't all fat, black, disabled, and queer at the same time. That's a weird, like, they've just piled on more and more demographics and put them on all the people who started anything that was called fat acceptance, and it's not even the same movement. What we have now is not a direct lineage. What we have now that's called fat acceptance is not like it's a continuous line, really. It is actually a separate movement, in my opinion, from what I've looked into it. And yeah, they're not really being very good academics here because they're biased. It's very obvious that they're biased by their own personal issues in this field, in this subject matter, let's just say.
Out of a space that was for me to have representation, and I know a lot of people are leaving, or it's like it's not about loving my body. It's like I'm not being pushed out of a movement that was for me in the first place. And yeah, I might have all these
The body positivity movement specifically, it was the fat acceptance people who hijacked it, not the other way around. It was for people with burns and disabilities from anything else. And it could include overweight people. I guess it could include underweight people. But they actually changed it, and some of them, not everyone, some people will claim that body positivity is literally just fat positivity within that movement. They get very angry about anyone who has a skin condition or anything else claiming that body positivity is for them. And that's what Jaimie seems to be saying here, is that, hey, all of you disabled people, burn victims, get out of our movement. You hijacked it, which is very rude because it's literally the other way around.
feelings towards my body, or like how I don't like this idea of loving your body. I'm still kind of working through, but it's about the representation and like push.
That's another word for reinforcement of the E followed by the letter D, by seeing, oh, look, other people are like this, it's normal. People don't like that. When the idea of it happening on the other extreme, people don't like it. They don't want to see underweight models at all. But this end, apparently, there are people within this movement who, for their own internal issues, they like the idea of seeing lots of big people around. Not that they are big themselves, like these two ladies, but that it makes them feel better about their own issues if they get to see lots of overweight people around them. And that's not that healthy, in my opinion. But that's what they're modeling. They are modeling that to the people looking up to them for guidance on the way out of this problem.
Pushing the narrative and making people uncomfortable. Because if I'm making you uncomfortable, I'm doing something right. You shouldn't feel comfortable in watching my content.
I'm not comfortable watching like very, very underweight content creators, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're doing something right.
If you feel uncomfortable. And I think me calling myself the body positive bestie has nothing to do with your body size. And the people that get it, and I'm here for them. And the people that don't, either like don't need to get it in the first place, or like they'll learn from watching my content.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jaimie, you're sort of bringing me to my next question, because I was looking through your videos, and one of the topics that come up multiple times, you have this quote that you say, "I don't love myself, but I sure won't hate myself." And I was hoping you can speak to this a little more. Why do you think it's a message we need
Look, there's nothing wrong with that question. I just think you can watch this whole thing for yourself. I'm only showing you bits of it, right? There is nothing in this whole thing where they address like fact that she's eating herself to end of life rapidly. They don't mention the health at all, apart from to dismiss it, as I showed you. Like, it's not that they shouldn't be talking about these other issues, because that is part of it, but it should be presented as a, how do we not obsess over body image, and how do we not make body image our identity, whether it's too big or too small. Both of them are doing that, making it their identity when it's this severe in an E followed by the letter D. How do we not make it our distraction? How do we not use staring in the mirror to distract ourselves from intrusive thoughts about anything else, to stop ourselves worrying about our job or whatever it is? How do we stop staring in the mirror thinking that we don't like it or do like it, or we're on a mission to change it? How do we not use that in a toxic way to get through other issues in our life without thinking about them? But it's always just this very, if you watch it for yourselves, you'll see what I mean in more detail, but it is still kind of reinforcing the idea that you are supposed to put all of your worth, your self-worth, into your body. Like, you're supposed to, like, it's important that you think about this stuff all the time. That there is no pushback against the idea of making your whole media brand and your whole personality about, I like my body, I'm body positive. Like, you could have it as part of you, but there is no pushback on that at all. They don't seem to be aware that that is pathological when you really think that you need to be beautiful to feel good about yourself. Because she does say, Jaimie, that you don't need to love yourself, you can just get around on with the fact that you don't love yourself. And it's like, okay, but then she also which is definitely not good to say to people with E followed by the letter D. It is implied that the reason she can't ever love herself is because she doesn't like what she looks like. That needs to be said no. Like, you need to say no to the idea that not liking how you look means you can't like yourself. Like, because I'm not good at maths, but it doesn't have any impact on my self-esteem. It's just an inconvenience. Not liking how you look in the mirror, and there are things about my body I don't like, not really weight related. There are things about different parts of me I don't like, but they have no impact on my self-esteem. Like, those are two separate things. It's just like, it would be nice to have something nice to look at in the mirror sometimes, when it's like, oh, from that angle that's a bit of an unpleasant whatever going on there, like my weird toe or whatever it is, right? But it doesn't affect my self-esteem. It's more like a practical concern. Like, if I'm in a situation where I'm not wearing any clothes, I can be self-conscious around other people seeing it and being put off. But that's not like a practical issue. It's still not my self-esteem. I don't feel like, oh, I hate myself because I've got an ugly toe. Like, it's even, when I think about it at all, I use that as an analogy a lot because I just think it's a useful analogy, not because I think about it all the time. I really don't. There is no pushback on this concept of we need to focus on our appearance, and it's valid that we have our self-esteem wrapped up in our appearance, and it's society's fault, because it's not. Society doesn't make you put all your value in your appearance. You do that. Like, society doesn't make anyone put all their value in their job or their career or how good they are at maths or whatever. Like, you've chosen to do that for whatever reason. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but that is what's happened, and you can't get over it all the time. You're justifying it and saying, well, I can't change it because I'm just like an absorbent sheet of paper that just absorbed the paint and now it's stuck on me, and oh well, I can't do anything about it.
Little Jaimie, so like young Jaimie, how do you think she would feel about the place that you've kind of like arrived at today? Meaning that even if you can't fathom loving your body, you can fathom respecting yourself and valuing yourself and living your life. It just makes me curious how you think little Jaimie might feel about that.
I don't know if this is too honest, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I honestly think she'd be pissed that like I reside in the body size that I'm in.
Not
But
too
at the
honest. I
same
respect
time,
that
like
honesty.
she had such dreams of like becoming famous and like changing the world that I think also like she'd be really proud of me. You guys keep making me cry, but like
I
she'd be
wonder.
really proud of me and really like we did it. Like this is like how I'm honoring her, is like
Yeah,
not having to do with body size, but it's like, okay, like it doesn't matter. Like you're seen and you're heard and you're
yeah.
loved and you're valued.
And you
Jaimie,
can barely
I'm gonna
breathe
cry
at
Oh
too.
night,
no, I'm
and
crying.
a
I
million
know.
other things you
I
should care
just
about a bit more.
I just want to thank you. Like, I know that this material is for you, right? Like, you're doing this for you. And
But it's actually about me.
it means so much. It means so much. And I just feel like it's so relatable. And the amount of people that are able to like,
If it's relatable, you have a mental problem in this area as well. It's not related. Nothing she says makes any sense to me at all. And not because I've always liked how I looked, because I've never really given much of a crap. Like, I only even started to enjoy clothes and makeup, like, as an adult. As a teenager, people tried to get me into it, and I found it boring as hell because I hadn't come across the kinds of clothes that I liked yet. It took a long time before I even found any that I liked, and makeup ideas that I actually, like, enjoyed. All the time it was just, oh, just try to look pretty and beautiful. I had no interest in looking pretty and beautiful. I want to look, interesting to me. Things I like, things I find cool to look at. Doesn't necessarily align with beautiful or pretty. Sometimes it can. But, I never had this problem. And most people, including most women, don't. But we're always being told that we do, or that if we don't, we're the outlier, we're the weird ones. It's not true. It's not true. People are like being encouraged to think that they have to have these problems. This isn't normal. You shouldn't be, as a therapist, you need to be healed. Like, it's fine that you had these problems in the past, but if you're this emotional about someone talking about someone in this position, imagine again if it was Eugenia and she was weeping about, oh, it's so nice, I'm weeping because it's so nice that you've learned to accept your body size. That would be odd, right? I think it's equally odd because this is not like a happy story. This is someone who is, again, could die any day, same as Eugenia. In my opinion, I would not be shocked if either of them dropped dead tomorrow. It's really harsh to say, but truth is brutal, don't be neutral, to quote Rosetta Stone song.
Reflect on their own stories and maybe even, Jaimie, where they've fallen short, right?
Yeah.
Because of your content. Like, it's awesome. It's countercultural. It's beautiful. And I love that
it's counter medicine
up here. Like, like, I love it so much, Jaimie. So much. Jaimie, I want to say, so first of all, I don't think your idea was delusional at all. I do think
I was
that
thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I do think that you can
even
change
if
the
I
world.
was
She's talking about the idea of becoming famous and changing the world.
delusional.
Yeah.
Even if I was delusional, look where it got me.
Look where it got you.
There is a good valid point there about the idea that you can get very, very wealthy and successful by having a very unhealthy lifestyle. Unfortunately, we've seen it in various ways. I don't think I need to go into detail about that, but it is unfortunate that you get rewarded financially and then you can feed your vice. You can get all the money. She came from enormous wealth, but she's managing to still have enough money to eat the enormous amounts of food required because this social media and inviting people to premieres and things, she's being rewarded by society, by aspects of society right now, by being invited to these events to make money and do all these deals, promote clothes and things.
Yeah.
And secondly, I just want to say, like, your content, you are so transparent, and it is
not about health.
It is such a breath of fresh air. And like, as somebody who has never really lived in the thin body ideal, like, it means so.
It's so gross to hear anyone in the medical field like reduce healthy body weight to this superficial, vapid shallowness. I'm sorry, people want to be at healthy weight. That is the ideal. That should be the ideal. And it shouldn't be the ideal it's fine that it's from an aesthetic point of view, but it should be what we aim for. That's not a bad thing. You should want to be able to climb a building and rescue your neighbor if it's a burning building, instead of being the person who, 10 firefighters have to try and lift and injure themselves lifting you. You want to be fit and strong so that you can contribute and not be vulnerable and helpless in an emergency, that you can run, that you can climb, that you can duck, that you can hide in an emergency, that you've got the stamina for a fight, whatever. Throw all that away and say, no, it's not about being fit and healthy and strong so that you can do things and contribute to society, and most importantly for your own life, just to have a good quality of life and to not have to worry about, can I even get out of this building if there's an emergency? No, it's all just about the ideal beauty set. Why are you so obsessed with beauty and then projecting it onto everyone else? Most of society is not actually that shallow. It's a minority of people who are all like the loudest voices all the time telling everyone that no, all women are this shallow. No, we aren't. I am insulted at this like projection onto everyone that, oh, there's this thin ideal that all you know, mostly they always want to project onto other women. I'm like, no, not all of us are this vain and shallow. And I'm sorry, I know it's a disorder. It's not like you are vain and shallow, but your disorder is. Your disorder that you've chosen as your distraction from other things in life, it is making you shallow. And I just don't appreciate the normalization of that and making that seem valid. It's not. It's very pathological and harmful to you, the individual, and to the people you're normalizing it to, and saying you don't need to root that out of yourself. You don't need to root that out of your psychology. That is part of the disorder, this obsession with, am I pretty and beautiful or not? That is part of the problem. Like, it shouldn't it's nice to be pretty and beautiful, but it shouldn't be an essential aspect of your quality of life, an essential aspect of your mental health. They are modeling the idea that it is an essential part, that you do need to find yourself pretty and beautiful in order to have good self-esteem, and that if you don't find yourself pretty and beautiful as a woman, you are doomed to hate yourself. That is just such nonsense.
So much to me to see people living their lives regardless. It doesn't matter what bodies we live in, we can live our lives. And like, legitimate.
I actually have a problem with that. It's actually best put by somebody else whose video I watched to look into Jaimie Weisberg more.
Had nothing against fellow fatties. I'm a fellow fatty myself. I don't care if you're fat. But what I do have issue with is promoting, and this goes for people outside of her. This is just one person doing it, but this goes for all of the supersized influencers that are influencing this, you know, dream life to people. Like, you're able to go and do all these things, dress up, go out to dinner parties. Like, they sell you the dream. Even though we know at her size, at her weight, at her body's distribution, it is highly unlikely that she is truly enjoying any of these experiences that she's having. Because behind the scenes, we're probably cutting to her sitting somewhere, trying to regain her composure after doing an outing of that magnitude and dealing with the repercussions of pushing themselves and putting themselves in very unsafe situations.
So that concludes all of my thoughts on this video. Feel free to find it and watch the whole thing yourself to check that I'm not misrepresenting it, and I'm happy to keep discussing it until it gets resolved. Honestly, maybe that might be beyond my lifetime, who knows, but hopefully within my lifetime I will actually get to see reform, and where these clinics actually help everyone achieve their healthiest weight, and not just like in this biased way because they feel better and they openly say they enjoy watching very large people who are much larger than them showing off clothes because it makes them feel better about themselves. Essentially what those women were saying when they were getting very emotional with her. I think that's a little concerning. That shouldn't be the attitude of people who are supposed to be helping others recover. And I have been listening to a song, not that I'm saying anything, I'm just saying, one of the other Rosetta Stone songs I've been listening to a lot this week is called The Lunatics. The Lunatics Are Running the Asylum by Rosetta Stone. It actually specifically references clinics and things, which I find hilarious. Not saying anything, I'm just saying. And yeah, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. If you don't subscribe. It actually hurts the channel when you subscribe and don't watch their stuff. But if you do think you're going to like actually tune in to the things, then please subscribe. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. Bye.